Welcome to the Call Me Grits podcast. I'm your host, Joei Allen. I'm just your average stay-at-home mom, homeschool mom, and wifey who loves all things sparkly and anything DIY. From party planning to interior design, basically just a crazy pictures mom. I'm a self-proclaimed expert at nothing other than hanging on by a thread. I am living my best life during what I can only describe as my midlife crisis. This podcast is about nothing and everything. So whether you're here because you can relate or for some comic relief, I hope is that you'll walk away learning something new or at least feel a little less weird about the voices in your head and the decisions you've made in your life.
Welcome back to Comic Grits. I'm your host, Joei Allen. For today's episode, I want to share with you my newest project. It's called the Permission Slip Project, and it is very near and dear to my heart. I'm just going to hold this. The Permission Slip Project is basically something that came from it was kind of backwards. It's not like I created it and then everything changed. It came after the fact. So if you've been following, all 4 of you followers, I've shared kind of my backstory, what got me into pageantry, my experience with infant loss and postpartum depression, becoming a mom, just a lot of my backstory. And I kind of left off after, I think it was my second pageant, and actually going through the process of like recording, watching myself back, editing, all the things, I swear it kind of put me into this. I don't even know how to explain it, but it was half was cringe, half was proud of myself for actually doing it, because sharing with the world like your deepest, darkest things, it's hard. For my creative people, I think you'll understand what I'm saying. But anyway, here we are. It's still Commie Grits podcast, but it is part of my Permission Slip project. Or maybe it's the Permission Slip project is a part of Commie Grits. I guess that's probably the right way to say it. My heart behind pageantry is a tool for growth, for self-development, for keeping yourself accountable. They're great because you're in this community that with a whole bunch of other women that at the end of the day have the same goal as you. They're growing, they are giving back to the community in one way or the other, whether it's through big platforms or smaller things. It doesn't matter. It depends on where they are in their journey. And they're brave. They're being brave. They're putting themselves out there. Until you've done a pageant, it's hard to understand what goes in to doing a pageant. It's a sport. It's a self-development tool. At least it is for me. The longer I'm in it, the more I learn about myself, the more I learn about people, my confidence, my self-belief, just everything gets better. But there is a dark side to it. If you want to call it that, that sounds a little dramatic, but I'm just going to share my experience. I found myself continuously wanting to grow and wanting to get the most out of this experience, knowing, I'm not going to do it forever. It's probably going to be a season in my life. I don't know. I genuinely thought it would be a couple years. I'm already a couple years into it. I want to say I'm going on my 4th, 5th year, and I don't know. I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. But anyway, what I was doing was I was like, all right, I'd walk away from a pageant, placed wherever, and I was like, okay, what's the plan? What am I going to work on next? How can we grow from this? How can I learn from this? What can I continue to do to develop and be better? And part of it sounds healthy, but part of it, I found myself, one day I was kind of like, you know what? I am so tired of all the coaching and the academies, and everyone has a program they're trying to sell you. The key to unlock whatever it is that you're meant to do, why pageantry, and like all this deep digging. And it was all great. It was fabulous. Like it helped me develop what's my brand? What do I want to do? How do I want to impact women? Like, what's my legacy? All that kind of stuff. But it got to a point where I felt like, all right, I have my master's, my PhD. Like, I've gone to school, to pageant school long enough. It is time for me to do my part. And I kind of dropped out of coaching and schooling. I mean, this is after a solid 2 to 3 years of continuously being coached and listening to my coaches and letting them pick my wardrobe and my walk and how I would answer questions and all the things, right? Because I'm a good student. I was like, I'm here to learn. You tell me what I have to do and I'll do it. But while I was doing that, I kind of lost my essence, right? Like everyone's like, be you, be you. And I'm like, okay, well, like, who am I? Like, who am I? Okay, so, I'm doing all the coaching, all the things, starting to feel really burned out because I'm at a point where I'm doing all the things I'm being told to do, going to the events I'm told to go to, following all the things, and realizing that like I was still kind of not questioning, but I realized like me, like I got to a point where like I wasn't trusting myself, my instinct, what makes me unique. And I, I swear it was somewhere after turning 40 where I was just kind of like, you know what? Like I've done the training. I have to trust the fact that I have heard the information. I have paid for the information. I have sat through, listened, paid for a lot of one-on-one from like the professionals and this and that. And it was time for me to be me, whatever that meant. My personality. And the more I've opened up about this, the more I've realized that it's not just me. And so that's what draws me to want to share it in a podcast, want to create my, permission slip project, because I find when I isolate myself and I'm questioning and I'm feeling a little lost, there's nothing like finding someone that's also struggling with the same, or someone that's brave enough to say it out loud that helps you. And so my hope is that this might help someone, and someone that doesn't realize, like, so I didn't need anybody to come and give me permission to be myself, but I know that a lot of women still do. And so that's kind of what prompted me to create permission slip. After I gave myself permission to just be me, take it or leave it. And it was very much of it. It was a very like, ask my friends around me, my friend that did my hair and makeup for the last pageant I was in. I just did things differently. I did things that felt comfortable for me. And I wanted to be able to walk off that stage, regardless of the result, and know that I truly was me. And it was like, this is me. This is Joey. Take it or leave it. I'm far from perfect. I'm messy. I'm like a retired type A. So now I'm like trying to thrive in type C, type B. I don't know. There's all these funny things about it. But honestly, it was such a relief to go from all these checklists, all these points and balances to like keep me organized, because productivity and feeling organized helps with my anxiety. So like I would be pageant prepping, right? And I would start thinking like, oh my God, I'm going to forget something. Or, what if something happens to the zipper on this outfit, this and that. So like to try to mitigate that anxiety, I would create all these backup plans and backup checklists and like super organized with how my outfits were. And I mean, a lot of it I still do because it helps me, whatever you're going to wear for your interview, just have it all together in a bag labeled interview. Like it's stuff to like take some of the load off of you, but like the super OCD, like control it, like where I would miss the fun, where I would miss the whole point, that it was so freeing to just kind of let that go. And so after I did, I finished the pageant, I placed as high as I could have. Like I never thought that I would ever place where I placed, especially with like the attitude that I went in. It was like, it is what it is. This is me. This is me. I am not going to sit here and practice answers, hypothetical questions that someone might ask me and then try and answer in a way that I think they want to hear. I went in there and I was me. And I felt like it was the realest and best interviews that I've had. And my wardrobe, sure, I asked a couple friends, hey, do you like this one or this one? Like that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it was 100% I went dress shopping by myself. I think I maybe shared the picture with someone, but it was after I had decided that that was my dress. Um, Hair, makeup, like everything. And it was great. And so after the fact, I was like, okay, what was that? Like, what was it that made that experience so fun? How can I stay in this mindset? And how can I help others that maybe have been in pageant land for a hot minute and have given it their all? Because so this is the thing. It's not like when I showed up to my first pageant that I showed up thinking, oh, I'm going to be someone else. I'm not going to be myself. I can tell you after every pageant, I swore that I was me. You know, everyone's like, be authentically you. And I was like, yes, what else would I be? You know, so it wasn't something that I was doing consciously, not something I was doing on purpose. But it took a few times doing it to realize that I was so I needed all the coaching and all of that, because I was afraid that like I didn't have the right answers or what it took, or that if they saw who I was, that it wouldn't be what they were looking for. And I've made peace with the fact that that's okay. If I'm not what a pageant is looking for, that's fine. You know, I've got to be in the pageant and had the best time and with my friends and all that part. And because I couldn't imagine if I would have won while I was in that pretending stage. Like that would have been really hard to keep up with for a full year. I literally remember the moment. It was right before the last pageant, and we were talking. My friend was trying to, I don't know, give me some last minute coaching and whatever, and just pump me up and tell me like, you got this and that. And she was like, okay, you just have to know like what you want them to know about you. And I was kind of like, well, I mean, yeah, okay. And she started kind of panicking, and she was like, I really wish we would have talked about this sooner so we would have had a better plan. And I was like, yeah, I think my plan is kind of to not have a plan. And like, I did have a plan. It was just hard for me to articulate. And that little bit is probably the one thing that going back, would I do differently? Maybe. But it's fine because like I feel like the outcomes and my journey, it's my journey, right? We learn something from every experience, we grow from it. All the things pageantry does, all the things any sport does, right? Like my daughter plays softball. She gets better after every game. She is constantly growing and getting better, and watching her is so inspiring, because that girl can shake off things like I wish I could. Like I'll overthink stuff. I'll be like, oh, did I do this wrong? But she's so like cool about things, and she's definitely a big inspiration for me. Let's not get all teary eyed there. But anyway, permission slip, the heart of it shows you what it's like to live without, when you don't feel like you have to earn your worth. Like you are already worthy. Just let the world see you. And if you're still trying to figure out who you are, that's fine. Most of us are. I don't think anybody is like, I know exactly who I am. And if you are, cool. That's that. I'm very happy for you if that's you. But it's my experience that most people don't know who they are exactly yet. And that's okay. We're all learning together. We're all on our own journey. The great part of the sisterhood is we're all trying to be better and having that support and friends that understand you, because not everybody understands pageantry. It takes a lot. And when I talk to my friends outside of pageantry, and I'm just like, I can't figure out what I should wear, and I get these looks like, I was like, you just don't understand. It has to be something that shows who I am. I only have 3 minutes or 4 minutes. Like, it's anyway. So the sisterhood is great. It's fun. It's amazing. But even within the pageant community, I find a lot of women still haven't given themselves permission. So permission slip is your permission to do it messy, to do it scared. I don't think fear ever goes away.
I realized I couldn't control the outcome. And that kind of freedom was something that I had never experienced before, ever. Just to be clear, like that freedom that I'm talking about isn't just like with pageants. It shifted how I showed up as a mom, as a wife. A long time, I always felt like I needed to be more, more than just a mom, more than basically anything that I was. That I needed a title, a certification, something that I just needed to be more. And yeah, ambition is good, but it, it does get to a point where it can also be a little toxic, because you have to be able to enjoy the moment and be in the moment and stop and appreciate what you have. I thought I needed a title to a pageant title. In my case, recently. I mean, recently, like in the last couple of years, to validate me, which is funny because I started pageantry to do something for myself. Having something for myself makes me a better mom. It shows my kid that we are allowed to do things for fun, that we are allowed to do things that help us be better, to be in the community. But something else that kind of helped with this shift, that where I just said enough is enough and created permission slips, was that I was at the place that I thought would help me achieve something and validate me. And I was standing there. It was during rehearsals. Everything was great. Like I was so excited, so ready, not really focused on the outcome. I just wanted to, be able to say I did a state pageant, and that was enough for me. But I was standing there and it started to feel real, and I started comparing myself, and I started hearing, the doctor and nonprofit that's raised all this money director and author and this and that, and I'm standing there and I'm like, I'm just a mom, and I don't know, like, how, what, where, the shift, all of a sudden, I felt like I needed to be, like, more. This is when I tangibly can remember that, of wanting to be, of needing something else, because I don't know, maybe it was the group of people I hung out with. I was one of the few stay-at-home moms, and so there's always the conversations and the complaining, and they're like, "Oh, well, I'm not allowed as a stay-at-home mom to complain about being tired. I can literally complain about anything because, I don't have to have a full-time job and I don't have to worry about this, worry about that." Like, it's interesting how your environment and the people that you surround yourself with, and even that environment that I put myself in, being a pageant, makes you question yourself. And so after that pageant, I had so much fun, but that was where I was like, all right, what do I need to work on? Like, that was fun. I want to go back. I want to grow. I want to get better.
What do I need to work on? And that's kind of where Common Grits came from, because I felt uncomfortable speaking in public, like that onstage question. That was hard. And maybe not for you. Maybe you can talk on a microphone and it be fine. But at that time, for me, it was not at all, like at all. So, and I wanted to share my story. My whole point of wanting to win was to have a bigger platform and a bigger reach to be able to share my story, postpartum depression survivor, infant loss survivor, just kind of like the resilience and things that life has taught me. That was why I wanted to win the title. I wanted to reach more women. I wanted to impact more women. And so to me, creating my podcast was a way to still do that and grow. And I did it. I did it. It's sloppy. It's messy, but I did the things that I set out to do. But again, it it took a while for me to come back around and be like, I don't need to be a podcaster to be enough. I don't need to be Mrs. South Carolina to be enough. And I took a break from all of that. And I was like, I am so blessed to be a mom and get to spend the amount of time that I get to spend with my kids. And I'm just coming off of a season where my daughter, softball, she's playing JV and travel ball, and literally every day, every weekend, all day, every day was all about softball. And slowing down and getting to enjoy the monotony of having to pack her lunch every day, having to go pick her up, wait in line to pick her up because, car line, car ride or whatever, you have to be there like 20 minutes, 25 minutes early with all her stuff, take her over to the high school so she could change, make sure she ate, dropped her off, picked her up, like all the things. Like it was awesome. And it was a time where like I realized I was like, I don't know why I was driving myself crazy, feeling like I needed more when I have plenty. And that shift kind of brought excitement back into pageantry. This project, the permission slip, is something that is so true, is so near and dear to my heart because I experienced it when I gave myself permission to just be me. It just shifted. I felt like I could just show up, and part of not having it all together is part of my charm. And I was like, that is something that I have lived. That is something that comes from the heart that I can share with other women to encourage them, even if they don't get anything out of it other than not feeling alone, then it's totally worth it. And it's been fun to create it. It's been fun to work with Elizabeth. I'll shout her out. She is amazing, and she helped pull out what I was wanting to create and help me create permission slip, and like the actual permission slip. And yeah, so now I really hope to be able to grow that movement of encouraging each other, helping each other just embrace who we are, what we're doing, realizing that we are doing more than what we give ourselves credit for. That's the other crazy thing. Is like as I'm coaching women for pageants, women that are just starting out, stuff like that, and we're trying to like, okay, figure out like what's their platform, what do they stand for, and then they tell me what they're doing, and I'm like, are you crazy? Like you are doing amazing things. We just need to put a name on it and share your story. Like you are enough. You don't need to come up with some crazy thing. You are already doing it. The way you live your life, the way you show up for your friends, the way you show up for the community, you are doing it. And that has been so fun. And yeah, I'm really excited about permission slip and to see where it goes. So if you have stayed this far into the episode, thank you. And I will see you next time.